classic Tarzan of the Apes hits the stage at Players by the Sea in just a week, but this performance has a few tweaks. It's based on the Disney version. Here to tell us about it, I'm joined now by the show's director, Mike Beaman. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. We're also joined by Chris Berry, who portrays Tarzan. Good morning, Chris.
Yes, good morning.
And Abigail Douglas, who plays the iconic Jane. Good morning, Abigail.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for being here. So, Mike, you began casting this show in April. You announced the cast in May. It seems like a very quick pace. Is that typical for Players by the Sea?
I think it is pretty typical. We've got a nice working calendar to get as many dance rehearsals as we needed in, as many movement rehearsals as we needed in, and as many vocal rehearsals as we needed in. So I think it's a pretty average turnaround time for most community theater.
There was a visit that your team made to the Jacksonville Zoo, I understand, as kind of a team-building exercise. So tell me a little bit about why the zoo. What was the thinking there?
Well, so many of the actors in the show are portraying apes, gorillas, primates of various sizes. And so we went and studied the way that the apes moved. We watched how they interacted with one another. We watched the baby apes and how they interacted with their parents. We got to quiz the folks who worked at the zoo and grill them for information about what do they do when they're angry, what do they do when they're happy, how do they show affection, and incorporate that into the storytelling that we're doing live on stage at Players by the Sea.
Now, Abigail, you don't portray an ape, you portray one of the humans in this cast. But
Yes.
what did you learn from that adventure at the zoo?
I unfortunately was not there at the zoo, but I did watch a lot of the videos, a lot of the pictures, and I asked my friends how it was. And I thought it was so interesting to see everyone talk about how they could see how apes move when there aren't like people there at the zoo, and they could see like their true forms. And it was like so interesting to see everyone incorporate that onto stage. Now I'm seeing everyone become truly apes, and it's so cool to watch from the audience.
You are a local, you're from Jacksonville originally,
Yes, I am.
Douglas Anderson student.
Yeah.
And you've been performing since you were 9?
Yeah, I've been performing for a very long time. I grew up dancing, and then I decided to do theater at an educational theater at Players by the Sea when I was little. And then ever since, I've just continued to do theater, and now I go to college for it.
And so how does musical theater fit into all over, theater for you? Is that your preference?
Yeah, I've done so many shows growing up. Like, I couldn't even tell you how many. And I love doing it. It's my passion. I want to do it for the rest of my life. And it just feels like it makes me a better human to be a theater kid. I just love it.
Chris Berry, I want to ask you about the job of Tarzan because it seems like it's probably a pretty physically challenging role.
It is. It is a very physically demanding role.
What do you have to do? Are you swinging on vines and wearing a loincloth? I mean, what are the parameters here?
Yeah. There's a lot of acrobatics. There's monkey bars. There's a lot of heights. I'm jumping off of, rolling, tumbling. So it's also kind of embodying the ape physique as well. So a lot of just walking on my knuckles and just trying to portray the Tarzan that everyone knows and loves.
Is that something that you had to prepare for? Or you just been kind of learning as you go?
Oh, definitely learning as I go. It's just a lot of trial and error too, like watching a lot of videos on how apes move, how they communicate, trying to emulate some of that as well while staying true to the source material.
Mike, this is your directing debut at Players by the Sea, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
So what is it about this show? Was this something that you selected? Was it something that the theater selected? And how do you put yourself and your influence in a show like this that's kind of well known to Disney fans?
I was asked if I would want to direct the show, so they had already selected the show, and then they were looking for a director. And I started by going right back to the source material and reading the original text. And
You mean the book?
the book,
Yeah.
the book that was written over 100 years ago, and gleaning what I could from that original text, and then watched, of course, the Disney film, which is vastly different than the original text, and then was like, okay, how do we mix these two so we're not going completely Disney, but keeping it real for the Disney fans? And so all the folks who love all those great tunes and those great characters are going to be happy, but there is enough intrigue for the adults as well.
So, Abigail, the music in this, we should say, is written by Phil Collins, who's a man behind a lot of 1980s anthems and a couple of sappy love songs and some other, popular songs. What is it like singing his music?
Oh my god, it is one very hard because it's all kind of like poppy rock, and I'm not used to that. I usually sing like very contemporary musical theater songs, but it is so fun to sing his music because they're challenging and they're exciting, and I love watching everyone sing the songs like, "You'll Be in My Heart," that sounds beautiful, or "Two Worlds." Ugh, they all sound so amazing. His music is fabulous.
So, what is your favorite moment of this show, Chris?
Oh man. I think one of my favorite moments is the moment that Tarzan sees Jane for the very first time, because up until this point he's been living his entire life thinking he's something, and then sees something that completely changes his world, and he has to know more about it.
Well, the show starts July 12th. It runs through July 28th. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a great performance. Break a leg.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.